everyone, and welcome. My name is Joe. I'm going to be facilitating this course for you today. And today we're going to be talking about Microsoft Visio. Now, Microsoft Visio is a diagramming tool to create simple as well as complex diagrams and vector graphics. It enables you to create detailed organizational charts, floor plans, and pivot diagrams according to your business needs. In today's course, we're going to take a look at some of the basics on creating those different diagrams for you. When you first open up Visio, it's going to bring you to this opening page. This is where we'll see different templates and where we can also start some basic diagrams. Now, if you want to access more templates, you can always go over to the More Templates over here on the right side. Give that a click, and you'll see all the different templates that Visio has to offer. Not only that, but you can search for different files that you've been working on and see the most recent files you've been working on as well. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to create a basic diagram. So I'm going to make sure to click into my basic diagram. Now, when you do this, the first thing it's going to ask you is, what is the measurement system? Is it going to be in metric or units in US? And I'm going to use US units and click create. But of course, you can pick whichever one is applicable to you. Once I do this, it enters me into this interface. And just like anything Microsoft, the first thing I see up top is going to be my ribbon. And inside of that ribbon, you'll see that we have our tabs. And inside of those tabs, we have our command groups, and then of course, our commands. You'll also notice over here, we have different stencils. We have basic shape stencils, arrow shaped stencils, decorative shaped stencils, and you can even add or search for more stencils by clicking into more shapes and taking a look at different ones. For instance, I know I'm going to be working with a flowchart today, so I may want to grab, instead of arrow shapes, I can instead grab my basic flowchart shapes. And you can select whichever ones you want, and you can keep a list of them here as well. You don't only have to have one stencil at a time, you can borrow from different ones, maybe some graph and math shapes, or even decorative shapes. But I'm going to be utilizing basic flowchart shapes today. Now to actually click and drag these over, that will just be a click and drag, and then it will show up on the paper. And right here, we can start to manipulate the shapes by clicking and dragging the sizing dots. And there we go. So take a moment, try that out for yourselves. And when we come back, we're going to start to build out this flowchart, and then we'll also start to add text and connections to it as well. So what we're going to be building today is the process to open up our own coffee shop. And what I'm thinking of doing is starting off with, well, opening a coffee shop. Now you'll notice I utilized the start and end shape. And all I had to do is once again click and drag it onto my page here. Now once you do that, you'll have your shape and then you can resize it using the sizing dots. Now if I wanted to write something in here, the best part about it is all I need to do is start typing. So if I start typing opening a coffee shop, and then I click away, you will now see that information inside of the shape. And of course, you can manipulate that information as well. If you have it highlighted, you can just go up to the Home tab, and inside of that Home tab, this is where we can change our font options. So I'm going to format it to be about 12-point font, and I think that looks good. Now we can start to add more shapes to this. And once again, these are universal shapes. So everyone knows that it's going to be a rectangle for process and a diamond for decision. And you'll start to learn these as well. So I'm going to start off with another process after this. So I start off with the idea of opening a coffee shop. And the first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to have to probably create a business plan. Now, one of my favorite things about Visio is that when you start to resize things, once you already have a shape, you can actually make them exactly the same length and width. Now I'm going to make mine a little crazier here. There we go. That looks good. And it also has a lot of guidance. Now I'll just start typing, creating a business plan. And I'll make that font once again 12-point. Now I know I'm going to create another process. And I could do the same thing where I click and drag the process shape over. But there's another little keyboard shortcut that's going to make you more efficient. If you just click on this shape and you use the keyboard shortcut, Control plus D, that equals duplication. So once we do that, Control D, I can now have a duplicate where I don't have to resize it or even change the font to 12 point. All I need to do is double click and change what's in there. And the next process after creating a business plan is to apply for a bank loan. Now, the next thing I can do after this is make a decision point. Even though we're opening a coffee shop up, I may want to sell some food too, maybe muffins or donuts. So what I can do is go over to decision and drag it over here. And once again, I'm going to just resize this to the same size as my other one. And there we go. Now I can start typing. Do we want to sell food too? Question mark. Now, if we decide we do want to sell food, that's going to be a little bit different. We're going to have to create an extra sub process here. So I'm going to actually use the sub process shape because if we decide to sell food, we're going to have to create a food menu. And once again, I'm just going to use my sizing guidance here. There it is. And we'll say create a food menu. And now I can take this and once again, I'm going to just update the font to 12 point. Now, let's say we don't want to create a food menu. We're not going to sell food. Instead, what we'll do, and I'll just make this 12 point as well. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to skip this and we're going to go to renting the location. So it's another process, and I'm just going to duplicate, Control D. And I'll just change the text to rent location. Now, after that, I'm also thinking that I'm going to want to start to finalize some of the hiring contracts. And since contracts are documents, we can use the document shape. So I'm going to click and drag that one right here as well. And I'll just size it once again. And I love those guiding arrows. They tell me when everything is all aligned and in size. I'm going to say finalize hiring contracts. And I'll just change that font to 12 point. Now the next two shapes I'm going to do are, well, hire a store manager. I'm going to use a process for this, so I'll just duplicate. And I'll just say hire store manager. And then the last thing I'm going to do is end this entire workflow. Now to do this, I'm just going to, once again, duplicate the start and end because it is the same shape. So I'll just use Control D again. And now I'll just put in grand opening. And there we go. The only problem is there is no flow to this yet. There's no connection between each of these processes or each of these starts or ends. So what we need to do is create a nice workflow by using what's known as connectors. Take a moment to catch up on this, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you how we can use dynamic and static connections and what the difference between both of those are. So now that we have our shapes, what we're going to want to do next is create connections. Now there's two types of connections we can create, a dynamic connection and a static connection. And the difference between both is that a dynamic connection allows us to create a connection by any of the points on our shapes. And once we move our shapes, it will update it as we move them. A static connection glues the point to each other point. So if I want to do a static connection, I'm going to go by the point system. And if I want to do a dynamic connection, I'm going to go by shapes. So I'm going to show you an example of this, but first what we need to do is move from our pointer tool, which is our default, over to our connector tool, which is right underneath. So if I go over to the Home tab, you'll see under Tools, we have three tools, the pointer tool, the connector tool, and the text tool. So if I click over to the connector tool, you'll see that I can actually connect this entire shape to this entire shape. And if I do that by clicking somewhere in the middle, it creates my connector. Now, when I go back to my pointer tool to take a look at this, you'll see it has an arrow pointing from the opening of the coffee shop to creating a business plan. If I want to move this shape, take a look what happens. It actually will move the connection with it. So when we were in the starting position, it was going from the bottom of opening a coffee shop to the top of creating a business plan. But when I move this, it is now going from the top of the opening of the coffee shop to the left of creating a business plan. And this is an example of the dynamic connection, where if I move these, it will automatically update the connection points. Now, we're not going to always want this because maybe I want opening a coffee shop never be after creating a business plan, because if I switch them around like this, well, now it looks like a little weird, right? Going from the top to the bottom still. If I wanted to, what I can do instead is create what's known as a static connection. So I'm just going to delete this by clicking on it and pressing delete on my keyboard. Now when I go to my connector, instead of connecting it from the entire shape, I can actually connect it from these 4 connection points. And I'm going to connect it from the bottom of opening a coffee shop to the top point of creating a business plan. This creates that glued connection, which is known as a static connection. Now, if I go back to my pointer tool to move this around, you will notice no matter where I move it, it will always make sure that the connection is from the bottom of opening a coffee shop to the top of creating a business plan. So for most of this, I actually like it that way. I like how it will stay stuck like that. So if I want it to stay stuck like that, I'm going to create a static connection. Now for this example, we'll keep it on static connections. I think that will be good, but you can always choose which one's going to be the beneficial one for you. So we're going to create the rest of our connections here. We're going to go back to connectors. And I'm going to make a connection from creating a business plan, the bottom point, to the top of applying for a bank loan. From the bottom of the applying for a bank loan, I will go to the top of the sell food to. Now from the right side of sell food to, I'm going to go over to the left side of creating a food menu. But I do have to make another connection, because if we decide not to sell food, we're going to have to skip this. So I'm going to have to make another connection from the right-hand side here. And it might take a moment to just have it really picked. There we go. And we're going to go to the left side of rental location. But if we do decide that we are going to sell food too, we would do this first. And then we would go from here to there. Now we're going to create a connection from rent location to finalizing a hiring. We're going to go from the left side or the right side of finalizing to the left side of hiring a store manager. And we're going to go to the bottom of hiring a store manager to the top of grand opening. Now that we have our connections, it looks great. So take a moment, follow along with those connectors, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how we can start to manipulate these drawings to make this a little more colorful and a little more vibrant. Now that we have our connectors and we have our process going, what we're going to want to do next is modify the shape colors. Because I'm just looking at this and I just see the default colors that Microsoft created. So if you want to change the colors, you're more than welcome to. If you do like this design, you can keep them as well. But I want to change it and just make these different colors, maybe different sizes, anything that you like. So the first thing I'm going to do is choose here, and we will go over to the Design tab right up top here. And you'll see here we have different themes that we can choose from. And just by hovering over these themes, we get all these different colors here, which is pretty amazing. It looks great. But what we can also do is we can change these shapes one by one, because the minute that you select these shapes, you can go to the Home tab and you can change the way that they look by just simply changing either the font formatting, or you can go to Shape Styles and you can change the way the shape is filled or even the outline of the shape. For instance, for this one, I do want to make it a green fill. So I'm just going to do a nice green color here. Like this one, that looks good. And I also want no line. So I'm going to just do no line. So it looks like this. Now I don't want to have to do this all over again. So you can use in the Home tab what's known as the Format Painter right there. And if you click on a shape, click on Format Painter, I can then just click on this one and it will copy that format. And it just looks great. Now for all of my processes, I'm going to make those, let's do a nice orange color. So I'll just fill, I'll use orange, and I don't want a line effect. And now once again, I'm just going to use my Format Painter. And if you double click on Format Painter, it stays on, so I can just keep going now to quickly get this done. And then when you're done with Format Painter, you could just click again to take it off. I also want to change the way that this looks. I want this one to be a nice little gold color. And once again, I don't want any border. Now for the finalizing of hiring contracts, we'll make that a nice dark color here. And since we're using a dark color, we are going to want to change the font as well, so we can actually see the font. And we'll change that to a white font. And then last but not least, no line. Now the last one I'm going to do here is our sub process. And I'm going to change this to a nice blue color. But when you do change it to a blue color, you'll see that the lines are hard to see. So I'm going to change the line to actually a white color so that you can see that it's a sub process and it's different from a regular process. I'll also change the font here as well to white. And there we go. We've added some color to this. I just love the vibrant color, right? It doesn't look as just blue as Microsoft made it originally. If you wanted to also change the colors of our connectors, you could click each one and hold down the control key to select more than one connector. You'll see I'm selecting all of these connectors here. And you can change the line color of that to whatever you like. I'm going to change it to black. And there we go. Now the last thing I may want to do here is add some text, right? Because as you can see right here, we asked the question, are we going to sell food too? And it would be nice to see where this flow is going. Of course, if we say no, then it's going to go right here to rent location. We're going to skip this. But if it is yes, then it's going to go to create food menu, then rent location. So I do want to make sure I make that stand out. And for the first time ever, we're going to use our text tool. So in our Home tab, we have used the pointer tool, which allows us to modify and shape our shapes. We've used the connector tool, which allows us to make connections between our shapes. And now we're going to use the text tool to add text to our connectors. I'm going to click on text, and you can place it wherever you want. I usually like to zoom in on this because it could get a little crazy. So I'm just going to use Control and my mouse wheel to zoom in, and I'll put the text right here. Now, once I click there, you'll notice that the text box moved down here. That's okay. We will snap it right here once we're done writing what we want to write. And I'm just going to write the word yes. And of course, you have all the same formatting. I can make this a little bigger if I wanted to. I'll make it 14. And I'm going to make it let's do a black font. And there we go. Now, of course, the more you click around, you'll see, like, don't do something like that, right? You're going to insert a text. You could just click away. But now if I want to move this yes to here, we're going to have to go grab our pointer tool again. And now we can click, and you'll see that little yellow dot, and I can click and drag that dot to here. And there we go. We have our yes. Now I'm going to put my no right below it, so I'm going to go to text tool, click right here. And once again, it pushes the text box. That's okay if it does that. Just write your text. Make your changes here. I'm going to go once again with the 12 point. and make it a black color here. And now I'll go to my pointer tool and I'm going to move this here. And I love this. The reason why I didn't do an insert and then a text box is because if you enter text box, it just goes over the line. As you can see here, using the text tool will allow for that little bit of space so it looks like it's really part of this entire flow. So now looking at this, if I zoom out a little bit, this is looking really nice. Sell food too? If yes, we're going to go to create a food menu, then we're going to rent the location, then we're going to continue with our process. If we sell food too and we decide no, we're going to skip all this and go straight to renting location. So take a moment, try this out on your own, and when we come back, we're going to use some callouts, which will be a lot of fun. So we'll do callouts and we'll also do some grouping as well so that we can start to group these shapes if we ever want to move them. What we're going to be talking about next is how we can create callouts. Now, callouts are great to give more information to one of our processes. So, like for instance, maybe I do want to open a coffee shop, but I also want to figure out what the name of that coffee shop is going to be. So I can click on opening a coffee shop, and I can go to the Insert tab, and inside of the Insert tab right here, you'll see diagram parts. And we have a couple different things. We have our containers, which we're going to be talking about in a later section. And then we also have our callout. And then we know what our connectors are, right? So we're going to be using our callout. Now, when you click the little drop down, you'll see there's quite a few different just looks, whether it's just a text callout or a cloud callout, bubbles, anything you like, whatever makes sense for you. And I'm thinking that I just want to do a nice text callout. And then there it is. It's actually connected. So no matter where you want to move this, it's still going to be connected to that shape, which is really nice. I'm going to put it right here. And we're going to call this a cup of Joe. Since, well, my name's Joe, right? So that works great for us, a cup of Joe's. And I'm just going to make that a little bigger text there. And I'm going to use Control Shift greater than. And those are fun little keyboard shortcuts, Control Shift less than or greater than to affect the text. And then I'll make this a little bigger here, just like that. And I think that looks great. Perfect. So now we have a quick little shout out. Opening a coffee shop, it's called a Cup of Joe's, and there we go. Now you can add other shout outs as well, no matter where you want to go. If I want to do rent location, maybe do a nice little call out there. Just a thought. I'm thinking maybe I want to put this location, and by the way, you can turn this if you want. You can rotate the shape if you wanted to, any way you want. So I'll do this, and I'm just going to move this over here. And then you'll see it switches sides. And I'm going to say that the thought on this one will be, let's do, maybe I want to put it in San Francisco. There we go. There we go. And those little callouts just work really well. So take a moment, try that out on your own, and when we come back, we're going to talk about how we can start to group shapes together so we can move them without messing up our flow. You'll notice that when you move one of your shapes, it also changes the connector. And that's because we made our static connections and we want to be able to move things without affecting the flow. But the problem is, what happens if I just want to move all of this over? Maybe I want to create more spacing between this column and this column and this column. Well, to do this, you can group all of these shapes together and move it as one, so that you don't always have to just move one single piece at a time. So to do this, there's a couple of different ways. We can use Control A to select all of them like I just did here, and that really selects every single piece of content on this page right now. Or if I wanted to just do it in sections, I can just hold the Control key down and select one thing at a time. And you'll see it is selecting it. But the Control A is going to be a lot easier for this example, so I'm just going to use Control A. And now that I'm here in Control A, what I want to do is go to the Home tab. And inside of my Home tab, this is where you'll see the Arrange command group. And this is where we can access our group setting. Now, when I click on that dropdown, I'm going to group this together. And now it's all one piece. So if I ever have to move this, I could just click it, and now it's all one piece that I'm moving, which is really nice. And there we go. And this will be a lot more helpful when you want to put it into, let's say, like a presentation. So if I decide to copy this into, let's say, a PowerPoint, now when I use Control Copy, right, Control C, I can then just Control V into a PowerPoint. I'll show you what that looks like. And we'll just put it in a blank slide here. And then we can use Control V. And look how nice that looks. Add some fun little colorations here, and we're good to go. Try that out on your own, and when we come back, we're actually going to switch gears. We're going to name our project, and then we will move on to building an organizational chart. Before we get into building organizational charts, the first thing I'm going to want to do is rename my page. So I'm going to come down here to page 1, and I'm just going to double click, and we're going to name it, I'm going to call mine Business Plan. Now the next thing we can do is click this little plus icon to add another page. And I'm going to just click on that. Now we have a second page here. And I'm going to show you 3 ways to build an organizational chart. The first way is just manually building one. The second way is using one of the starter diagrams that Visio has provided. And the third way is by using the Visio chart wizard. So if I want to build this organizational chart, I can just go for my basic flowchart shapes here. I can move up, and we should have our basic shapes as well. And you can just use any shapes you want. There's no right or wrong here for this. So I'm going to just use a rectangle. I'll center that, make it a little bigger, just like that. And then I can just start typing in. I'll be the CEO of this company, the CEO. And you can add your modifications to it. Maybe I want to make this a lighter blue. Maybe I don't want any lines on this. I think that looks good. Now I can add another rectangle, one right here. And for this one, I'm going to put John Doe, and John Doe will be my CFO. And once again, I can just make this any way I want. That looks good. I'm going to move it a little over here, just like that. And I'll just change it to, that looks great, just like this. And maybe no border. Now I don't want to have to do this again, so I'm just going to use Control D for duplicate. And there we go. I may want to space this a little better. And I think that looks pretty good. And then I'll just do Jane Doe, and Jane Doe will be my COO. Now I'll just make my connections. I'll use my connector from the bottom to the top of this shape, and then from the bottom to the top of this shape. And then if you wanted to, you can recolor these to whatever you like. And that's it. There we go. We have just made a quick little organizational chart. And of course, we can add more people here. We can add more shapes. We can change the shapes. Maybe we want to add circles for our other employees. We'll do employee 1, and then we can just do a duplication, 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 just like that. That looks good. And I love those lines. Those lines are always amazing. We'll call this employee 2, employee 3, and employee 4. And now all we have to do is set up our connectors. And I'll just go back to connector, just like that. And just like that. Remember, I know that part can be a little hard getting it at the same time, but no worries. If you go a little bit to the top here, it should work pretty well. There we go. And then once again, I might just change the connection color. And I'll just change those like that. And now we have a fun little organizational chart. Take a moment, try this out on your own, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how we can create an organizational chart by using these starter diagrams. So even though creating an organizational chart manually is great and we can do that, it's going to take you a lot more time because we have to build out the shapes and the connectors. But Visio actually has templates for organization charts. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the File tab and click New. And here is where you'll see the organization chart template. Now all we have to do is click on that template, and you'll see here that it gives us a couple of different options. We have organization chart, corporate charts, department charts, all different types. So you're going to pick whichever one makes sense. I'll use this department chart, for example, and I'm going to click on Create. And once I do that, it's going to create a new drawing for me. I'll just put this drawing down, and I'll take a look at this one first. So we see here that it also gives us a little bit of a guide. It says, listen, you can use data from sources such as Excel or Exchange to create more complex org charts. On the org chart tab, select Import. To instantly create teams, drag employee shapes onto their manager shapes. And then, feeling crowded, use the spacing option on the org chart tab to create better spacing. Once you're finished with these tips, we can select Tip pane and press Delete. So I could just click on this and press Delete. So look at this. They set it up pretty nice. Now all I need to do is add some fun pictures, and I can go in here and just change the name. And I'll put my name. Then we can put in someone else's name. And there we go. And I just love the design. But not only that, when you use a template like this, you'll also see here that we have new organizational chart shapes that we can use. And not only this, but up top, we now have a tab for the org chart. So if I click into it, you'll see here that we can change any of these. So if I decide that I want a different design, there it goes. Pretty awesome. So we have here all different types of designs that we can use. Not only that, but what we can also do is we can re-layout, or we can relayer this in different ways, horizontally, vertically, side by side. We can do a best fit page so that everything fits on the page. We can change or insert pictures. We can import the data. Really amazing. So with that said, take a moment, try it out for yourselves, and when we come back, we're then going to talk about utilizing the chart wizard. So even though this is a great way to create an org chart, there's one more way that I want to show you, and it's by using the organization chart wizard. Now, once again, we're going to go over to File and click on New. And we're going to use the organization chart again template. But this time, instead of selecting one of these three, we're going to select this one right here, the Organization Chart Wizard. And we're going to click Create. Now, the first thing it's going to do is pop up this dialog box. It's going to say, okay, I want to create my organizational chart from information that's already stored in a file or data place, or I want to enter using the wizard. Now, we will be talking about this option a little later in the lesson. But for now, we're just going to use the information that I enter using the wizard, and I'll click Next. Now it's going to ask me to choose the type of file you want to enter your data into. You can choose delimited text or Excel. If you're fond of Excel, you're more than welcome to choose Excel, and then you can choose to name the file. And I'll just call this practice Visio org charts. Now I'm going to click next. I'll click next again, and then it's going to take a moment. It's going to open up right here a sample data in Excel. And it'll give you some little samples, and you'll see here Joe, Jane, and John. Pretty cool since we've been using those examples to begin with. Now you'll see here that we have name, who the person reports to, the title, the department, and the telephone number. And they even give you a little note on each of these, which is really nice. So for the first one, I'm going to put my name. And I report to no one because I'm CEO, and we'll just keep the same telephone number. Then we have Jane Doe, who reports to me, right? We want to make sure these are identical here and here so that there is a connector that's created. And then, of course, John Doe as well. And John Doe will report to me. And then we can start to create a couple other people as well. We'll call this the marketing department. We'll say marketing. And we will just say employee. You know, you could put whatever you want. We'll do advertising agent. And then we'll put a couple of people. I'll use my friend Carly, who's amazing at marketing. And Carly reports to, we'll say, Jane Doe. And then we'll have one more person as well in marketing. And we'll just make up the phone number. Just like that. And we'll do my friend Taylor here. And Taylor will report to Carly. You know what? Yeah, that looks good. Let's do Carly. Because Carly's going to be the senior advertising agent. And I think this looks good just for a little practice. Now all we have to do is click save, close this out. Now it's going to say you can also import pictures from your computer of those people. And I'm going to say that I don't want to include pictures. Now, if you do have pictures of each employee, you can put that file in there. I'm just going to say no because I don't have any of those, and I'll click next. Next, it will say your org data may contain too many employees to fit on one page. What do you want to do if that's the case? Do you want to specify how much of the organization is displayed on each page, or do you want the wizard to automatically break it into pieces across different pages? And I'm like, yeah, I think that looks good. The name at the top of the page should be the top executive, and we can also create hyperlinks for the employees and synchronize them too across the pages if it does break into other pages. Once I click finish, there it is, looking great. There we go. And I just love the way this looks. Now this connector, you can move this connector. It looks like it is a static connection, so you're more than welcome to move this. I think that looks amazing. So we've gone through 3 different ways to create organization charts. Manually, by using Visio's starter diagrams, and also by using this chart wizard. When we come back, we're going to switch gears and we're going to get into designing a floor plan with Visio. What we're going to be talking about next is designing a floor plan. And we're just going to make a very basic floor plan today. So I'm going to open up a new file again, File, New, and we're going to click over by the templates and we're going to access the floor plan right here. Now, once we do this and we open it up, we'll have all these different types of templates, whether you want to do a home plan or an office layout or just a normalized floor plan. And for today, let's have some fun with this. Let's do a whole plan. This will be a lot of fun. And we'll click create. Now let's say that we want to create a new, I don't know, maybe a new kitchen space, right? We're remodeling our kitchen. You'll see here over on the shape side of things that we have our wall, shell, and structure, where we can create exterior walls or rooms or start windows in there. We can also go to garden accessories. You'll see we have brick pathways, all these different things to allow us to start to build this out. Furniture as well. If we keep scrolling up, we have electrical. Tell us where our sockets are, our wall lights are. And if we keep going, we have some drawing tools as well. So we have everything we need to start to really draw this out. Now, the first thing I'm going to start off with is wall, shell, and structure. And we're going to build out the room. That's it. We're just designing a room. So I'll click and drag this right on here, and I'm going to make it as big as I think the room's going to be. And then I'll zoom in a little. I think this room will be about, for the kitchen, we'll say 40 by 32. So now that we have this, we're going to start to put in some of the spacing so that we know the square footage. And of course, it says office by default. So I'll right click, and you're more than welcome to go into the properties, and you can change that from office to kitchen or whatever it's going to be. You can even put space heighting, you can do the base elevation and other calculations as well for the shape data. But we'll talk about shape data in another lesson. Now I can click OK, and I can start to spread this spacing out. Just like that. And now we have our kitchen space. It's going to be 1,282 square feet. Nice size kitchen for us. So now I can start to put in some of the information, like maybe I want to put in some furniture, maybe some cabinets. So I'll scroll up a little bit. We have furniture, we have bath and kitchen plans, so we have the cabinets, the sinks, everything we need. We have other furniture as well. I'll go into cabinets. And let's say I do want to put a cabinet. Let's do one of these. And you can have so much fun with this, whatever you want to do. There's no right or wrongs here. So maybe I just want a cabinet right over here. There we go. Now, if you weren't worried about the actual size of this and you weren't getting the specific, you could just do a quick layout design where you don't have to worry about those things. Like, of course, this cabinet is pretty big, which I wouldn't have a cabinet this big, but you're more than welcome to choose any way you want. Now, I'm also going to put another cabinet. I have one here. I may want to put another one over here, maybe a bigger one actually, a little bigger. There we go. And I'll just make sure that everything's sized right. And you can do this too. There's, once again, no right or wrongs here. And I'm thinking maybe in between these two cabinets, there's going to be some sort of, let's say probably a sink, right? So I'm going to go over to my kitchen plans. So you can go over to bath and kitchen. And I'm going to put a sink in there. Let's do a 2 sink there. Dual sinks. Just like that. Now, of course, I do want to put in the information like the stove, things like that. And if you're trying to look for it and you're like, I don't see the stove, I can't find these things, of course, you're more than welcome to start to search for them as well. So you could go to search and you could put in stove, and then you'll see there's a stove here. So really nice that we have those options. I'm going to make that stove a little bigger there. That looks good. There we go. Now I'm going to continue to design this, and once again, just feel free to put whatever you like in here. There's no right or wrong. You can put whatever you like. I might want to do a table. So I'm just going to search for table. And let's do I like this table, boat table. Just like that. I might want to turn it as well. Make that a huge table there. And there we go. We're just really starting to design this. I'm going to add some plants in there too. Why not? Let's see if there's any plants. Maybe I have a palm plant right over here. Make it a little bigger. And you can really design this out. So take a moment, try this out for yourselves. Have some fun with this. Really get into designing it. Just think, maybe who knows, maybe somebody out there is really trying to redesign a kitchen. This is going to help you out to know exactly where the placement is, what your idea is, getting it from your head to Visio on paper. Visio is really great about giving us tools to effectively create our flowcharts. And what we're going to be doing next is creating a flowchart based off of a basic flowchart template. Now, when I go into File, New, instead of using a basic diagram, I'm actually going to use Basic Flowchart. The reason I like this is because it sets us up with the stencils that we need right away. So when I click on it, it's going to open up and say, well, do you want to use one of these that we've created, or do you want to build one from scratch? And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a basic flowchart from scratch and click Create. Now, right off the bat, I have my basic flowchart shapes. And this is great. And I can now take my start and end and bring it right here. Now I can just resize it, and we'll do the same example as we did before. We'll say that the first thing we want to do is open up, we can say this time a pizza shop. We'll make it a little different. So I'll click into it, open a pizza shop. Now, once we do this, you may notice something. When we hover over, we get these little arrows here. And these arrows, what they allow us to do is quickly choose whether we want to use a process, a decision, a sub-process, or the end of a flowchart. So when I click on process, it's just a quick way for me to continue to build this out. The one thing I want to know though is, do you think it's going to be a dynamic connection or a static connection? Well, if we move this around, we can see that it's actually a dynamic connection. So if you don't mind that, you're more than welcome to change it if you do, but if you don't mind, we could just leave it. So I don't mind in this case. I'm just going to resize my things here. Perfect. Get a little bigger. That looks good. And then for this next one, I'll just say create business plan. Now for the next one, once again, I can use the little quick access. I'm going to click here again. And for this one, I'll say apply for bank loan. And I'll just resize this as well. And then the next one I'm going to do is the decision. And I'll resize it. And for this one, the decision on this could be, do we also want to sell, let's see, pizza and maybe dessert too, right? Maybe we want to sell dessert too. Just like that. Next up, we're going to make a sub-process, and I'll just put that one right up here. And that sub-process is going to be, just get that sizing right, create, or decide on flavors, we'll say. Or decide on dessert menu. That sounds good. I'm going to click another one, and let's do a process. And this one's going to be rent location. And then another one. But this time, I noticed something. I only have the access to the process, the decision, the sub-process, and the end. I actually don't have access to the document. So this one I will have to drag here and resize and then form that connector. And I'll say this one is finalize hiring contracts. And then I'll create that connection. And for this one, I'll just keep it the same dynamic, just like the rest of them. And there we go. Now I do need to make another one here because if we decide to go to the location, I do need to sell dessert to, rent location if we decide not to. So I'll go to connector and I'll make another connection here as well. The last thing that I want here is another process. And this process is going to be hire a store manager. And then last but not least, the end process, which will be open store. And I'll make that one the same size as the other one. And there we go. We have our process. Now, of course, once again, you're more than welcome to start to add in these coloration, shape modifications like we did before. If you did want to change the shapes, you can hold the control key and select both the start and end and fill that shape with that green color we liked. We can select all of the process. There we go. And we can do a orange color. I think we did a gold color for this one. A darker color for this one. And we also did the text. We changed the text as well. And then we did a blue color for this one. And we made sure to put the lines in as well and change the text. And there we go. Looks great. Now, once we have this, the next thing we're going to talk about when we come back is being able to utilize containers. Containers can help us to map out when we're going to get these different tasks done so that we can open up this pizza shop. So take a moment, create this, and then when we come back, we'll put them in containers. Now that we have this set up, we may want to put this in some sort of timeline. Whether that would be phases or quarters, we can apply what's known as containers to allow us to contain these tasks or these processes in each container pertaining to a certain time. So the first thing I'm going to do here is just move these a little bit over and change where they are on our page here. There we go. Just like that. And now I'm going to start to activate our containers by going over to the Insert tab. And you'll see here Container. Now before you click on Container, we do have to select what we want in each container. For the first container, I'm going to select this shape along with the connector, the next one, the connector, the next one, the connector, and the next one. Now all of these, and you can include these as well, are going to be in that first container. Now that I have them selected, I can go to Container, and I can choose which one makes more sense for me. And I'm thinking I'm going to use, I like this one. Then I can just click on the heading, and I can type whatever I like. Let's say that these 4 tasks are going to take place in phase 1. Now I can do the same thing for the other ones as well. Decide on the dessert menu, hold the control key, click, rent location while holding the control key, click on the connector, and finalize hiring contract, and click on the connector. Once again, go to Insert, Container, and choose which one you like. And then I'll just rename this Phase 2. Now you can move these containers as well a little bit further down so that they are matching as close as possible to the other one. Perfect. And then I can make this a little more just like that. I think that looks great. Now the next thing we're going to do is phase 3. Once again, I'm going to just click, hold the control key, click on the connector, and click again while holding the control key, and then go to Insert, Container, and we'll put a third one in. And I may make that a little bigger, just like this one, and make that a little smaller here. Maybe move it down a little as well. And there we go. Now I'll just name this one phase 3. And now what we have here is our 3 phases, our flowchart, and when they're going to happen. So take a moment, try this out for yourselves, and when we come back, we'll finish up. All right, thank you all so much for being here. As you can see, Visio is an amazing tool to visualize your ideas and get them on paper, and then be able to really create these projects, or create these business plans, or create these floor plans, or whatever you're trying to create. This is a great way to do it. With that said, thank you all so much for being here. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you all next time.